Last unused/removed Five Nights at Freddy's content, I touched on the original 4 games amongst the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. And I had mentioned that there was a lot more content to be found throughout the other games, and I wasn't lying whatsoever. There are a lot more games outside of the original 4 FNAF games, obviously, as you know, in the franchise. There's lots to tack on, and a lot of these games have quite a bit of unused content in there, so without wasting any more time, let's just jump right into it. So, after Five Nights at Freddy's 4, there wasn't another mainline story game until Sister Location, but before that, we got FNAF World. Released on January 21st, 2016, a whole 6 months after the 4th Five Nights at Freddy's game, FNAF World is not canon and not like any of the original 4 FNAF games. If anything, it's a kid-friendly, haha, look how cute they are game of Five Nights at Freddy's. Instead of it being a first-person survival horror game, it's a indie adventure role-playing game where you pretty much play as whatever one of the animatronics in the mainline story games you want, except they're really cute and doing kind of stupid things. The game was released to various different opinions. You had a lot of people that very much enjoyed the game and a lot of people that were very disappointed in the game because it resembles absolutely nothing of the original 4 games. Take it as you will. I think it's a very decent video game and it is at least worth a try. However, there was a lot of removed content from this game. This game was being teased by Scott Cawthon as early as September of 2015. And typically, as you know, for Scott Cawthon, anytime he would tease one of his upcoming games on his website, that game would be coming pretty damn soon, and he was very bad with release dates. I remember Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was supposed to come out in early 2015, and it came out literally like less than 3 months after the original game. But he stayed true with this release date. It was supposed to come in 2016, and it did. But there was a lot of removed content that we saw throughout here. So let's jump right into the list of removed content. Quick disclaimer before we jump into here. Much like the other videos, some of this content is removed without any context at all. We don't know why some of this is removed. We can assume why some of it is, but there's not a 100% answer as to why it's removed. But let's jump into it. The first thing that we have is called the Toxic Song Attack. As you can see right here, this Toxic Song meter right here, there appears to be an unused attack in the game titled as Toxic Song, and most likely would have poisoned enemies as with Toxic Bite, and may have been unusable by Phantom Mangle and Springtrap, since their fixed counterparts Funtime Foxy and Springtime Bonnie are the only characters with Cosmic Song. Phantom Freddy is also a possibility due to the fact that he is a singer. I'm not sure why this was removed for the game, and if there actually was a song made for it. I have no context surrounding this whatsoever and why it was removed from the game, but it doesn't look that major, for being honest, but I don't understand why it was. This next one is called Poison Status, and within the game's files, there are 2 unused graphics of the poison status. They would have possibly have appeared when the enemies got poisoned, more like the other status elements. Right here we can see this says poison, and it lights up, it goes up and down, brights up a little bit, and this other one says poise, P-O-I-S, but it has like a weird little circle in the middle. It kind of looks like the ABC logo, but it keeps on popping up in the middle. I'm not sure why this was removed from the game, but it doesn't. It really just looks like a basic attack move right here, like it was meant to be in the game. And I guess it was one of those where Scott Cawthon didn't feel the need to put that in there because it's like, why would you? For being honest. Now this next one really wasn't removed from the game. It's more hidden, and I'm not sure if it actually was meant to be in the game. Obviously, Scott Cawthon is the master of hiding Easter eggs, but this one has a hidden text in it. In all different endings, there is a text hidden in the code that says, well, congratulations, you beat a fictional monster from a fictional game. Bravo, big deal. Now, is this just sarcasm by the man himself, Scott Cawthon? Is he calling you a loser for celebrating a win? I have no idea. This was hidden, and I'm not sure if he wanted you to find out about this. I mean, clearly he did, but it's like, he hit it pretty well, and it sounds like a lot of smart-ass remarks, right, for being honest with each other. Now, this next one was actually a removed field that was by Scott Cawthon. You see, in the earlier days, like I said, Scott Cawthon would preview some of his upcoming games on scottgames.com, and he originally had a preview for what we were going to see as Ice Cave, but whenever we start up the game, There is no ice cave. It even went as far as to having a soundbite in it that was 1 minute and 32 seconds that was going to be the background music for this level. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'll give you a snippet of it. It's very soothing and relaxing. It mimics a little bit of Mario games where it's like one of those songs you could just fall asleep to. It has a little bit of nostalgia to it. You can't quite put your finger on where you heard it from, but you know you heard it from somewhere. But the area was never put in the game. Like I said, it was titled as Ice Cave, but a lot of people think it may have been replaced by Dusting Fields, which has a similarly cold-themed area. But this was removed without any context from Scott Cawthon. My best guess is that maybe Ice Cave wasn't complete at the time, and maybe he thought that Dusting Fields would have been a much better view for the characters and much better playable area for the guys playing the game. I'm not sure, but it kind of sucks that this was removed and all we got is this little soundbite from it, but it's very relaxing. In fact, I can use this to go to fall asleep on, if we're being honest with each other. Now, this next one is actually a removed piece of dialogue from the game. In the Foxy Fighters minigame, JJ has an unused voice clip including a swear word that would have probably have played after Nightmare's Chico's plane is shot down. Here's what it would have sounded like.
Now I'm going to kick your ass! Wait, what? I can't say that in the game.
I genuinely cannot tell if that was meant to say, wait, I can't say that in the game, and if that was actually a mistake, or if Scott Cawthon actually was going to intend on putting this in the game. It honestly is very much hilarious, considering that Five Nights at Freddy's is kind of considered a kid-friendly game, even though it's not, but it is, if you get my drift. And the fact that JJ ended up swearing actually makes it even more funnier. I mean, I could expect Foxy to have a foul mouth, or hell, maybe even Freddy, but JJ out of all people? Oh my god. This next one is actually very bit intriguing, and it is even more dialogue that was removed from the game. It was the 8-bit Fredbear's dialogue. There is an unused dialogue that was supposed to appear after 8-bit Fredbear tells the players to find the clock for the first time. It technically is used, however, due to an error in the programming, the game instead automatically brings the player to the loading screen when it appears to just the last thing of text instead of adding an additional null string, making it unseen altogether. The dialogue would have said, if you keep following him, you will only finish a story. There is something more important for you to do. Now, this really sucks that this was in the game or technically removed from the game, even though it wasn't removed, but it's in the game, but it's an error. So technically it kind of was removed from the game, and that really does suck, because this is honestly some very solid dialogue right here. Like, come on, Scott, you're not perfect. You make mistakes? What the heck? I am obviously just kidding. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Not even Scott Cawthon, as perfect as these video games are. But that really does suck that this was removed from the game, though. This next piece honestly is very intriguing, and we're not 100% sure on Scott Cawthon's intentions with this. And it is the open box from the Five Nights at Freddy's 4. If you remember at the secret ending of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, there was a box that had 2 locks on it, and you could not unlock it. And once you attempted to do that, there was a text that read, "Some things are better left unsaid," and it ended off with that. Well, this box was removed from FNAF World, but it was open, and there was no way of triggering it, and the box appears to have nothing inside of it. It was found in the first Glitch World files. It may have been intended for opening chests in the original 3D overworld, but it also may have simply have just been Scott Cawthon tricking players into thinking the mystery of the box is revealed in the game somewhere. This was removed, I'm guessing, because Scott Cawthon may have plans of actually revealing what was in this box at a later time, in one of the mainline games. Or this could have been like oh shit, I didn't mean to put it in there. That was just trying to poke fun at y'all. My bad, guys. I really hope that he didn't intend to have nothing in the box, because that would completely ruin the ending of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, because that was really intriguing, seeing what was in there. But if there's genuinely nothing in the box, then that actually freaking sucks. But Scott Cawthon ended up removing it from the game, so I think he had bigger plans for what was in there than what meets the eye, thank goodness. There was a removed chip called the Curse Haunting that was stored between the unlock screens for Pizza Fury and Block Unscrew. The chip itself, however, doesn't exist, even in the files. Presumably, it would have been haunting on all enemies from the start of the battle, or else a Great Freddy would have appeared and stunned the enemy occasionally. The chip may have been replaced with the green chip Quick Start Party, which stuns enemies for the first few seconds of the battle. Right here you can see it says found new chip, Curse Haunting. Not sure why it was removed from the game or why you can't even find in the game's files, but I don't know. There was also a early Brow Boy sprite in the game's files, what appears to be a ball boy with the colors and face of Brow Boy can be found. Brow Boy may have originally been a normal enemy like its FNAF World Halloween Edition counterpart, or it may have been some type of placeholder. Right here we can see for Brown Boy has a big unibrow right in the middle right here, so obviously going to the name Brown Boy. But I'm not quite sure why this was removed from the game, but like I said, it looked like an evil version of Balloon Boy, but we're never going to know because it was removed. Did you know that there was originally going to be a swimming turtle in the slumberfish part of the game? Yeah, but it was removed. Given that the files are grouped among the fish from DD's fishing hole, it is likely that the turtle was intended to be another catchable creature in the minigame with its own payout tier, or probably function as an obstacle to prevent the player from catching a fish. Strangely, it isn't robotic like all the other fish. This may have been the reason why it was dropped from the game. It looks more like a actual turtle compared to the other ones that were more animatronic-like. So you can see where Scott was probably having PTSD moments from his original games before FNAF. It was like, oh, yep, removing that, bye-bye. There was an alternate cupcake that was grouped with the cupcake object in the game, and it is an unused alternate version of the cupcake animation, and it's programmed to stop the animation after the cupcake bobs down once. Look at this cute little cupcake right here. If you remember in the early days of FNAF World, they had a party creation banner that was used in the character selection menu in the very early games. However, when update 1.20 was introduced, this was removed from the game, and I'm not quite sure why. It was kind of cool, kind of not cool, whatever. I guess Scott Cawthon must have thought it was cringy or just not worthy from the game, and after this update, it was removed. And this is right here is a star that was in the original version of the game since its first release. 3 stars would have shown up when getting all 3 endings, however, that was removed. My best guess is because Scott Cawthon was trying to kind of be different from the other FNAF games out there, and whenever you get stars from the original games, whenever you complete them, I'm guessing he was trying to just get away from that. Be like, hey, this is a completely different game. This is not the original. Back off. But I don't know. There was also a strength number in the character selection menu. Whenever you would go in the menu, it would show how strong the strength of a character has, but it was removed from the game and never shown absolutely. Right here you could see level 2 plus number of character, and would have demonstrated exactly how strong each character was. But I guess it was removed just because it doesn't really make a lot of sense, and this is just supposed to be a fun game to play, not a, ooh, it's basic, it's complicated, nothing like that. That's my best guess as to why Scott Cawthon removed that. There was originally going to be titled Adventure Animatronics featured in the game, which is supposed to be the main characters. However, whenever the game was released, this was never used in the game, which is kind of odd as to why they said that, but people think it was because the copyrighted phrase adventure version is why it's removed from the game, but we're not sure. There was also a couple of removed enemies from the game. There was an unnamed robotic bear in the earlier photos and trailers of the game. It could have been a counterpart or an early design of said enemy. This older design looks like the prototype used in Halloween Edition, which actually looks really cool, but was never used in the game. There was also a golden merch crab that was removed from the game that you could see in the very first trailer for the game. And it wasn't in a Halloween update, it wasn't in any update whatsoever. These crabs were never in the game, which is kind of odd, really, if you think about it. But I guess they didn't really serve much of a purpose, and that's the point of prototypes, is removing unused stuff that you didn't think was going to be useful, and that's exactly what like it happened for Scott Cawthon here in this game. There was also a Shadow Freddy with a pizza wheel removed. In one of the teaser screenshots of NDBD, Shadow Freddy can be seen with a pizza wheel 2 attack. This was changed to the escape key attack in the final version, but they would have had a pizza wheel for this character? That's actually real crazy, but it's actually really cool. But I can see why it was removed. Shadow Freddy is not really a pizza guy. And finally, the final one for FNAF World is the Slow Start Enemies chip. Before FNAF World was released, there was a chip named Slow Start Enemies. Unusually, the colon is missing from the chip's depicted name. With quick start party equipped, the party always acts before the enemies do, while slow start enemies would have likely have delayed the enemies from attacking first at the start of each battle. Thus, slow start would have been effectively been a redundancy if used in tandem with quick start. We could see why this was removed by Scott Cawthon, as this is honestly more of a confusing aspect and control of the game, and probably wouldn't have been very, very useful in the grand scheme of things. So we could kind of see why Scott Cawthon removed it, but it's whatever. And that's going to wrap it up for the FNAF World removed content. 15 minutes worth of content removed from this game. Now, that is a lot, and we still got a couple more games to cover, so let's jump into the next one, which is FNAF Sister Location. Now, the next game is actually going back to the mainline story of Five Nights at Freddy's, and this one is Sister Location, being released on October 7th of 2016, 9 months after FNAF World, an entire year and 3 months after the last game, Five Nights at Freddy's 4. This game was released to obviously great reviews because it follows right back to the storyline of the originals and dives a lot deeper into it and had a lot of good stuff in it that a lot of fans appreciated from Scott Cawthon. But like the other games, there's also going to be a lot of removed content that we see from here. There's a good bit to jump into, so let's get right into it. Before we dive into the in-game content that was removed, I want to look at some of the pre-release content that was there, because it has, for some reason, a good bit of it. Right here we can see the first one is multiple Bibby Babs. In the fourth teaser featuring the Bibby Babs, it seems as though it was originally intended for there to be 7 of them in the game. However, there are only 2, which pretty much means that maybe this was just to kind of tease the upcoming game. Like, hey, there are lots of them out there. There really isn't a for sure answer as to why there was this many in the poster and why we had all of them removed from the game and why at most we only get 2 of them in the game. But they're honestly very creepy, and I think it was just to kind of add on to the creep level of the game and make it look like you could be chased by a bunch of these. I'm not sure. The next one is Bon Bon in the vents. Right here we can see in this picture, Bon Bon is shown crawling through the vents in the first teaser, but never does so in the game. Now, I'm not quite sure if this was intended for this or if Scott Cawthon was just trying to be kind of funny with Bon Bon, making it look like he was running and didn't really have any other place to show him running. Not really sure, but right here we can see him running around in the vents, but there's just no way to tell exactly why this was removed from the pre-release. Now, this next one is a lot and has a lot of backstory behind it, and that's the unused voice lines for Funtime Freddy. Freddy had a load of voice lines that were unused from the game that was revealed from MatPat's live streams with Kellen Goff. Before the live stream, Kellen once refused to show off any of the unused dialogue lines without Scott Cawthon's permission. Obviously, that'd be illegal if no. He also revealed in said live stream that Funtime Freddy was once intended to have a German accent, and it had been retained. Funtime Freddy would have been the only enemy animatronic with a German accent in the entire series. Some of this unused dialogues were just alternate takes on lines that were made in the final game, those most emphasized in the custom night dialogue. Special mention goes to Funtime Freddy's Get Ready for a Surprise, which has multiple unused versions but only one finalized version. There are quite a few right here, and instead of me saying them out loud, I'm just going to play the clip for you right here for all the unused lines.
Hey kids, glad to have you back again. Come closer, I'll sing a song for you. Hello, little children. Glad to see you back again. Come closer, I'll sing a song for you. This is my friend Bon Bon. Say hi, Bon Bon. Are you the birthday boy? See you over there in the dark. Come on out. Bon Bon, I think that's the birthday boy over there. We should give him a surprise. We'll see you next time. Well, hello again. Are you ready for round 2? Come on, Bon Bon. Let's not keep our friend waiting. Come on, Bon Bon. Let's not keep our friend waiting. Anybody home? You sure? Okay, let's go get him in 3, 2, 1. Pooper. Oh, what a party pooper. Oh, birthday boy. Come out wherever you are. Oh, birthday boy. Come out wherever you are. Get ready for a surprise. Get ready for a surprise. Get ready for a surprise.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in. And the German accent is very off-putting. And I'm not quite sure why Scott Cawthon intended for that in the final game or ever. But that was the case, as funny as it is. And that's going to wrap it up for the pre-release content. Now, this is the content that was removed or scrapped from the actual game. Stopping off, we have Shocked Ballora. Found in the game's files, there is an unused image of Ballora receiving a shock with the primary control module location, with her endoskeleton face exposed. This image was meant to be displayed when activated the control shock keypad right here. And we can see where it looks like she's in pain, and I'm guessing that's why Scott Cawthon wanted to remove it from the game. That way they didn't look very vulnerable. And honestly, if you show them like off track or not showing any pain at all, it makes them even more intimidating. So I could see as to why he removed this, really for the fear factor of the game. And it's not a bad idea. This next one is the Circus Baby image. An unused small image of the red tinted Circus Baby with pigtails was missing. The MFA codes revealed that the file was originally used as part of an early game overscreen, kind of like what we see in the original games, but this was obviously going to come up whenever the game overscreen was going to come up compared to the one that we get in game. This one really isn't quite intimidating. The only thing about it is the fact that she feels like she's looking into your soul with a red background in the back, kind of representing that, hey, guess what, buddy? You died. But other than that, there really isn't a lot to this, and I could see why Scott Cawthon thought that the original game overscreen was better than this one. There was also an unused portion of an early map that would have been overplayed while in the vents, primary control module, and circus control. As you can see right here, it really wouldn't have done much for you, and it doesn't look like it was even fully developed, so I could see why it was scrapped from the game. Right here we see some unused voice clips. The female computer voice has a couple of unused clip vines. The voice says, "Glass pressure trigger, please do not push against glass," as a warning for the player not to push against the circus gallery location's glass window. This was hinted by the step away from the glass title from the Indie BD page's Circus Baby gallery shot. This is what it sounds like.
Glass pressure trigger. Please do not push against the glass.
And then here is one for technical control.
Motion trigger. Technician control.
Yeah. Don't really know why this was removed from the game, but whatever. And finally, there was an 8th minigame cutscene. The Custom Night's 8th End of Night minigame cutscene can be viewed in the Click Team Fusion's engines. Although it's not necessarily unused, it could also be seen through as a glitch. The cutscene was exactly like the first cutscene, only that the neighbors looked disturbed. And that is going to wrap it up for Sister Location's unused content. Outside of the lots of voice lines that were removed, there really wasn't too much removed from this game. So credit to Scott Cawthon for this one. A lot of what he had initially planned for the game ended up making it in the final cut with a few minor details. So good job on this one. Pat yourself on the back, and let's jump into the next game. Now, the final game that I want to touch on for this video is going to be the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. This is considered a canon game. It was made by Scott Cawthon, so I do believe it is worth mentioning for this video. And there's a good bit to get into here as well, so let's jump right into it. Starting off, we have the unused star animation, like I said, which was used for the original 4 FNAF games upon completing the original 5 Nights, 6, and the Custom Night. You get the drill, and we can understand why this was removed from the game. There was a removed tape options. There is an unused animation of Henry or Cassette's man's tapes being reversible. This went unused in the final game, and it's not quite sure why that was the case, because I think it would have been very intriguing to actually see this, but whatever. To go along with that, there was also buttons that were presumably for Harry's cassette tape that went unused in the game. We could see reverse, stop, fast forward, and play. Now, I'm not quite sure why any part of this cassette tape was removed from the game. You'd have to ask Scott Cawthon about that one. I think it would have been really interesting had it have stayed in the game, but that's not my call, and I guess we'll never know. This next one is a Molten Freddy blueprint. There is an unused blueprint, presumably for the Insanity ending that reveals Molten Freddy's components and priority. Right here, it says, security tags active, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy, Ballora, Priority 1 with the most amount of remnant collectivity in its structure. This obligation of AFTAs constructs in a necessary element of paragraph 4. Right here we can see the blueprint. It looks really unique and really cool. Not quite sure why Scott Cawthon intended on taking this out of the game, because I mean obviously it's really unique and is actually pretty cool, but I'm not sure why it was removed, but it looks really good though. There was a removed white arrow from the game, only being different in color to the gold one, presumably for when selecting to continue the game from its menu. It isn't used for the blueprint mold either. I'm guessing it's because it's white and it blended in a little too much, and I'm guessing the gold color kind of stood out a little bit. Not quite sure right here. This is a very minor detail right here, so not getting too much into it. The demo limit was actually removed. In the custom night told, there is an unused texture for the mentioned 2,000 point limit from Scott's stream post for the demo before he edited it. It was seen in the UNC demo Scott Cawthon gave out to YouTubers. It lists in the demo version, you can only have a maximum of 2,000 points active before starting a level. Pretty much telling you that, hey, if you want to get more than this, you're going to have to play the actual game, which you have to pop up this demo and actually go buy it, which I could see why it disappoints a lot of fans. And I'm guessing that was the case as to why it was removed. I'm guessing it seemed a little too harsh, or maybe like, oh, damn it, I wanted to do this and that, and maybe it pissed people off or rubbed people the wrong way. I'm not quite sure, but Scott Cawthon intended on removing. Now, these next ones are characters that were actually removed from the game, and they're very intriguing and unique. This one is called Adventure Indo 01, and along with Candy Cadet, were planned characters to be in Ultimate Custom Night, but they were both removed for better alternatives. Scott stated he was including both in-game and in alternative ways, with Candy Cadet making an appearance as a prop, though Adventure 01 never made an appearance in-game as promised by Scott. The only thing that we got right here was this little image that we see of Indo 01, which honestly, he looked cute. He looked really cool, but we never got to see him in the game. And I'm not sure why Scott Cawthon ended up removing him or why he changed his mind. Really don't know, but I think he would have been a really good add-on to the game. To go on with this, we lost Rockstar Chica, which there was an unused image on the right side of the office. It is a flip version of her left side. This is most likely replaced due to her bib being flipped. Right here we could see what was removed from the game. Also, another really cool add-on that was just removed, which sucks. This next one is Toy Chica's movement. If you remember in the second Five Nights at Freddy's game, there was only an animation of Bonnie moving, and there was originally going to be a Chica moving across movement. Well, that was also removed in this game too. Before the patch note 1.021, Toy Chica had her movement and jump scare in the office being flipped. Right here you can see them both moving. It really does suck that Scott is not giving Toy Chica the credit that she deserves and not giving her any movements. This is the second game that Scott Cawthon ended up removing this. Come on, Scott, give her a damn break. This one is for Bonnet Boop. Bonnet boops frames for Sister Location's Ultimate Custom Night for when the player boops her on the nose was found in the game's files but went unused. It is unknown why these were in the files. This is honestly just kind of like a cute thing, like a, oh, he booped me on the nose type thing. So not really complaining or crying that this one was removed from the game. It's just kind of silly, if we're being honest with each other, but whatever. This next one was a Custom Night title graphic. There is an unused graphic for Custom Night's title. This could be seen in one of the preview images on the Steam and Game Jolt for Ultimate Custom Night. This was unused since the power-ups and offices button were added and there was no space to fit the title graphic in the main menu. Well, there we go. Finally, an explanation as to why something was removed from the game. This next one really sucks. I lie. It's an unused desk right here. This one would have been an unused small desk for the normal office that features, if zoomed into, brighter lighting and fixed eyebrows on the Freddy plush, as what you can see right here. It also kind of mimics the desk from the second game and tries to remember the desk from the original Five Nights at Freddy's game, but it was removed just because there wasn't a lot of room for it, I'm guessing, in there. Not really sure. And finally, the last piece of removed content is the roster teaser that was before the Adventure Indo 1 and Candy Cadet got removed. As you can see, this is where the image for Indo 01 and Candy Cadet was found. was part of this early roster right here, but for some reason it was removed, like I said, from the game. Those two characters in particular, not this roster. This still made it into the game. And there was also a screenshot that featured the title graphic for the game that was removed. Like I said, Custom Night and both the other character was not in the game, but you could see in these early screenshots for the game, they were intended to be in there, but all three were removed. And that's going to wrap it up for Pizzeria Simulator's unused content. And that's also going to wrap it up for this video. However, we still have 3 more games to tack on, but this video is already going on 30 minutes, and I don't want to take any more of y'all's time, so I will cover that in a later video, as it feels like their own trio of video games. But that's going to wrap it up today for the unused content in Five Nights at Freddy's, the sequel to the original that a lot of people were requesting, and I will be making a third one eventually sometime down the road. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button, consider subscribing. We are very close to 5,000 subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you taking the time to watch my videos. I love you guys to death, and I will see y'all in the next one.